Rami, since the ceasefire, Israeli evictions and arrests of Palestinian families in Silwan continues. The root of the violence between Israel and Palestine is still there. Has nothing changed on the ground?
Well, right now, what we're experiencing here in Palestinian towns inside of Israel is what I would describe as quiet tension. And maybe the word quiet is a bit of an overstretch because what we've been seeing the Israeli police raiding towns, neighborhoods in Palestinian areas and detaining and arresting hundreds of people. They actually call this campaign law and order campaign. Now, other than the fact that someone there is watching way too much American TV, this is the Israeli police's attempt to punish the Palestinian people for basically the uprising, the popular uprising that's been happening all over Palestine, all over historic Palestine. They think that by doing that, they will be able to both punish us and maybe suppress the movement that already started. But right now, we've been seeing a lot of, I would say, provocations in Sheikh Jarrah and in Silwan, and these images, the images you've been showing on the screen. Every Palestinian citizen of Israel sees them, and you see these images. You see the Israeli police raiding your town or your neighborhood at night to detain as many people as possible, and obviously we're not going to stay quiet because of that. I guess they're just not used to, losing, especially to civilians who basically just took to the street to defend their dignity and their national aspirations of being free. So what we're seeing in my hometown of Lid right now is especially dangerous. I would say it is especially dangerous because there's no going back from what's happening. It's a city that is run basically by Jewish supremacists who just basically started their ethnic cleansing campaign. The people of Lid know this. During the last few days, I've been receiving hundreds of text messages, emails of people asking me how can they come and support the people of Lid. So this to show you that people are not going to stay quiet. So when things escalate again, and if I had to put my money, I would say they would escalate again pretty soon. We will go back to violent clashes with the police in the streets.
We saw a lot of international support for Palestine during this latest round of violence. What's it like as far as public opinion goes inside Israel? Do you get the sense that the tide of public opinion is changing within Israel among Netanyahu's supporters as well?
Oh no, of course not. That ship has sailed a long time ago. That nothing's going to change it. Nothing's going to change the Israelis' public discourse. This is what happens when a society is run by a racist ideology that sides with Jewish supremacy. Any supremacy, for that matter, is just bad, and we've been seeing the fruits of that. We have been seeing a rise in support for Palestinian people, especially in the States. Now, when you talk to Israelis and you show them the front page of the New York Times from 2 days ago, that basically had photos of people under occupation, and all of a sudden American mainstream media is highlighting the suffering in Gaza, is highlighting the suffering in East Jerusalem, the dispossession that's about to take place, is even highlighting the suffering of the Palestinian citizens of Israel. And you confront Israelis about that. You show them that, and they fire these immediate responses of anti-Semitism. Americans all of a sudden become anti-Semitic, and you become anti-Semitic for just bringing that matter into their attention. So when you face these, when you see these answers, when you see these responses from Israelis, you know that the public opinion is not going to change. One of the reasons for the public opinion being cemented so deep in the far right is Israeli media. All of a sudden, when there's an escalation, when there's a war situation, the Israeli correspondents, anchors and reporters become, basically they recite the army's messages, and they all stand united and recite the party line. some of them even incited on air against Palestinians. Some of them even called Palestinians to be shot dead in the streets. So when you live under these conditions, and I'm speaking as a Palestinian citizen of Israel, it's not only scary for us, and it's not only threatening our mere existence. This should be a wake-up call to the entire world that Israel needs to be held accountable for its action, and somebody needs to stop Israel in its racist ideology.
Rami, Israelis could be faced with the fifth election later this year. It'll be the fifth election in 2 years. Netanyahu has so far been unable to form a coalition government. Is there any hope of a new government and what that could mean?
No, in my opinion, there's no hope for a new government. And in my personal view, and I think some Israeli journalists share that with me, Netanyahu started the whole thing a few weeks ago. Once he realized that he won't have the mandate and he won't be able to form a government, the way they closed Damascus Gate during the Ramadan, which basically functions as the Palestinian town square. And the way the Israeli police provoked, families during Ramadan in Jerusalem was just what it is. It was a sheer provocation, and he wanted to, put the whole area in one big flame. And we saw that. And I think that, unfortunately, Israeli politicians on the opposition are not brave enough, and there aren't any good leaders in Israel that could see through that and oppose that and still form a government. So if I had to bet, I would say we are heading to fifth elections.
All right, Rami Younis, thank you very much.